Item 14, consideration and possible action to receive updated information pertaining to all equipment under lease purchase in District 2. And so
Right, the reason that this was put on our agenda, I believe, because it seems to be an issue for the Board of Commissioners because it has to do with contracts. Contracts all have to come to the Board of Commissioners to be signed.
right.
I call your attention to the second page of that election year law requirement. Second page, I got a little highlight down through there that it may be interesting to you. If you don't mind, I'd go ahead and read that into the minutes. Section 3 talks about Title 19, Section 333, record of orders and declarations, commissioners not succeeding themselves in the duties thereof. Item B, the second paragraph from the end talks about lease purchase. It says, however, in the case of lease purchase contracts, rental, lease, or other payments extending beyond the term of office of the commissioner, it shall be the mandatory duty of the commissioner to execute and make such payments current as of the date of the expiration of term of office of the commissioner. The commissioner shall be liable both personally and on the official bond of the commissioner for any violations of the mandatory duties therein imposed. The bond is what has to do with the Board of Commissioners. A personal liability, you know, it's just that. But so the contracts that this board approved and signed back in June for the lease purchase, I believe it was of a lot of the road graders. It's my understanding that, and it's other people's understanding is from the board as well, that one of the graders' his lease is expired, at least one of them's expired, and we ask that you bring the contracts for all of those graders. What I'm interested in is how close the rest of them are to having expended hours, how many hours are left to be utilized, and if there are others that are in the same shape as the one that allegedly the lease has expired on. I think that's owed to the incoming commissioner as well, in addition to the law that requires this to be brought up to date. So with that, I'll let you address that, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, we have a 3M that was over hours and it caught us unaware as well as Cat. And so in order to be able to figure out what to do with that, we've inquired with the state auditor, who has now referred that to the assistant district attorney, local Bartow, and he is looking into that. He is looking at the contract per his email, and will get to us as to how we handle this, because we can't surplus it because I did not win re-election, and we cannot purchase it. So what we are doing currently is making the payments on it, and here's all the information that you requested, sir. And we do have CAT representative here, three of them apparently.
So what was, so I guess this one CAT NOM 123 is the one that
That's
is over?
Yes.
Okay. What was the maximum hours on the contract?
5,000 hours.
5,000 hours. Okay. What's the contract say about hours that's gone, that you go over? What's the cost?
There's not a charge for hours over.
Right.
It's just the guaranteed repurchase is null and void once you go over those hours.
The guaranteed repurchase.
Or the lease, or the balloon at the end is what our trade would be at the end, or guaranteed repurchase would be null and void. So it would just be whatever the trade value of the machine would be. If you guys don't buy out the balloon at the end, we would trade for whatever.
Okay. So what you basically, what I think I heard you say was that the offer of the balloon payment is null and void once you go over the hours.
Yeah, our balloon payment offer at the end of that 5 years, 5,000 hours is null and void.
Okay.
Yeah.
His name, sir.
Yeah. What,
Howard Wickersham with Warren Cat.
Okay. So that's null and void. And so from Cat's standpoint, how do we resolve the issue?
You can either trade that, buy a new machine, we would give you a trade assessment on the value of the machine as current state, you know, hours, age, things like that. We would give you an assessed value of that, and then we would put that towards the purchase of a new machine, or take that negative into that, or you guys can pay the difference between what its assessed value is and what's owed of that balloon.
Okay. So my question there would be, who assesses the value?
We could assess the value and give you our assessed value of it, or you could have someone else give you an assessed value as well and pay the difference.
Okay. So the assessed value doesn't have to be the same as the balloon payment offer?
No.
Okay. Because a grader with 7,240 hours on it is probably not going to assess it. What was it, $180,000?
Yeah.
Okay. And so the rest of these, so Mike, what's the JD 8500K? Is that a dozer?
Yes, sir.
Or are you lease purchasing that?
From the trust, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't, that's not in scope of what we're talking about here. Okay. The reason I ask is it's got over 5,000 hours on it, but it's so that's not an issue. So the other graders that we've got, 900 hours, 2,000 hours, 1,800, and 1,600 hours. There's no other ones that are about to expire on hours. How about time? Where are we at on those? What was, so normally the contracts, the lease purchase contracts are either or, right? You either run the number of hours over, or you run the number of months out. So have we got any that are like that are about to expire on time for months?
Are we speaking specifically for District 2 or
Yes,
all
District
districts?
District 2.
I'd have to go back and look, but I think that's the last one for District 2 that's close to that time. I mean, that one ran out of time.
Right. So I guess the next time period when our board re-examines contracts again will be in June of this
Okay.
next year. So anything that would expire between now and June would be subject to this issue.
Yeah, I can pull those up and find out if we have any.
Okay. So I got one other question, and I'll let you guys go, or leave you alone. How's that? On the graders that we've run before, there's been the ability to monitor in real time the status of graders of their operation. I mean, all the way down to their RPMs, you know, how fast they go, and the number of hours that's on them. Is that something that you folks didn't look at, or does anybody look at the contract and say, hey, you guys are about to go over the number of hours, you really need to look at redoing this contract or updating the contract? Was there nothing from Warren Cat that alerted the district to them maybe going over? Because I can see where that could be an issue in the future, you know, for these types of contracts.
Yeah, there's a feature that you guys can use as customers that you can get on a daily track,
Right.
Hours, scheduled maintenance, fault codes, and things like that. And so
Yeah,
we give all of our customers, both private and governmental, access to that to be able to see hours and locations so that you guys can manage time and those things.
Okay. I think what the commissioner said was that there was something that they just missed. And my question was more specifically back to, is there something as far as contract management goes for Moore and Cat where you guys are able to also, you guys are able to also see that stuff?
Mhm.
Right? So is there a way, or was there a process where you guys look at the number of hours on a system that's under contract, under lease purchase contract, and determine that it's about to expire, the contract's about to expire or become null and void? And is there a notification that you guys send out to that end?
We would do that under what we call conditions monitoring. So if you want those assets monitored on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, then that would be an option that you would purchase at the beginning of a deal. We don't just proactively manage your guys' hours and say, hey, you guys are running 3,000 hours a year. If that's something that you want us to do, it's an option that we provide for you at a cost, but that's called conditions monitoring. And we would manage hours, location, and any of the maintenance things and give you notifications on certain levels of that.
Right.
But if that's not purchased, no, we don't monitor those assets and hours that are put on those on a regular basis.
Okay, so and you don't, to that end, you don't monitor the contracts, the hours on the contracts?
Yeah, and unless there's something that you guys want us to monitor, and as a part of that, we're not going to look and see, hey, he's running 700 hours a month and he should only be running 500.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trends.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. I appreciate your input. Thanks very much.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Lowell's looking at this.
Yes, first we went to the auditor to see what to do with it.
Okay.
And she seemed to think that we should run that by Lowell, which we are.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you're legally on the hook for it. You probably should.
So can
probably
we
should.
surplus it?
Well, so this went to Lowell 3 September. Or Lowell sent back to you on 3 September. And he wanted to get a copy of the agreement from Troy.
I received an email from Lowell for the contract. I sent it back to him on Friday.
Okay.
I mean, that's when I got his
Right.
email and
So-
sent it back.
So he's just received the contract back to look at the fine print, so to speak, or the actual contract agreements and figure out what we can do. But yeah, without being able to do a balloon payment, the assessed value, that's going to be an interesting conversation. And with that, I have no other questions. Are you willing to open up to questions from citizens concerned? That's normally what we would do on an item on the agenda that, people, in the past, we've asked our concerned citizens can ask questions at the beginning, at the end, or while we're on a topic. Normally, we don't get real iterative with them on topic either. But if you want to allow a question, I'll give that one back to you.
Well, we do have an item coming up, number 19.
19. Well, yeah, and that's outside the scope of what we're talking about specifically. If there's anything specific
Right.
that,
If the new commissioner-elect, who is still just a citizen, I might add, wants to ask a question, that's fine. I'm not certain that anyone here can answer it. But you're welcome to ask a question.
The only question I would have would be if the the newer graders, are they still on the 5,000 hour lease, or are they at 3,000?
All the graders that you guys have leased are on 5,000 hour leases. Yeah.
So right now, we have, there are no graders in District 2's inventory that are close to the 5,000 hours outside of the 2015.
That we'd have to pull it up and look and see what all the current hours are.
The 4 graders we have at least 3,000 hours left on them, very, very minimal.
So I've got, to answer the question, I've got one, because this is information provided here, one at 941 hours, and I guess that's total hours
Mhm.
on the lease, not hours to go. 2,002 hours on another one, 1,808 hours on another one, and 1,687 hours on another one, and that's
1,600 what?
1,687.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank you,
can get you,
Commissioners.
we can get you a copy of this after the meeting's over with. And
Proceeding on.
NM 108. I think this is the contract agreement.
Those are all of our contract agreements for all of our lease purchases.
All right, thank you. That's all I have. And unless there's any other questions.
Did you bring me a copy of that stuff for the minutes?
The lease purchase agreements?
The stuff that just got presented, I need a copy for the minutes.
I'll see what we can do.
I will,
See if we can make a copy
Ma'am.
of that.
ma'am, you can, if we want to make copies, if I can get these back, that'll be fine.
Okay, if you'll leave them in the pile.
I will. There you go.
Thank you.